Okay, what's up, everybody? Today I'm coming to you as Camille, the Wise Administrator. I hope you are getting ready for the PDC next week. I'm going to talk a little bit about the events that we're having in another video, but I wanted for my administrator's message to talk a little bit about a question I was recently asked. Now, I've been involved in WISE for a couple of years, but I have been a woman in safety for 16 years. And the question that I was asked was, essentially, is there still a purpose to having WISE? Shouldn't we see people as people and not people as women or men, or see them by their gender, their race, their ethnicity, their sexual orientation? Shouldn't we see them as all the same? And we might believe that in order to be a good leader, you have to not see those things, but in reality, that's not true. In theory, it sounds really good to say that we don't need to have the discussion on gender as a safety professional because we serve everybody and we see people for who they truly are. And that sounds really good in theory, but that is not what the data shows. Not even just my own personal experience, which I won't talk about, but the real data. So there are specific issues that face women in safety and safety issues that women face in industry. First and foremost is access to properly fitting PPE. I don't need to explain to safety people watching this that improperly fitting PPE causes damage, and not having PPE at all for an entire gender or having it be incredibly difficult to get is a problem that affects women specifically. Additionally, if you're not familiar, the typically number one or number two cause of death for women in the workplace is workplace violence. So we think about active shooter events and we think about an angry ex-employee coming. That is not the case for women. The number one cause of death for women in the workplace, number one or number two, and a long time this has been happening, is a domestic partner affecting women specifically. Additionally, there's a massive gap in safety leadership as women. So you may be lucky enough to work for a company that has a vice president of safety, but if you do, it's pretty likely that that person is a male. Only 22% of CSPs are women. In school, in university, what we're hearing is that about 70% of the people studying safety right now are men versus 30% are women. Outside of our industry, a statistic that still exists is that there are more CEOs named Mark than there are female CEOs. Lastly, if you look at the BCSP salary survey, women make, all other qualifications being equal, all other factors, length of time with that company, length in industry, part of the country, etc., women make on average $10,000 less than their male counterparts. And this is in our industry as safety professionals. The past 21 years of WISE has made strides in all of these areas and more. And it's also built up a community of women that can come to each other to talk about issues that are specific to them. So it is super necessary to have these common interest groups, to have people that you can connect with. Just in my experience as an half Indian daughter of an immigrant, it is relevant to my experience that I am a different race. And it is relevant to my experience that I am a different gender than most of the other people that are working on the leadership team. That is relevant to my experience. And if we pretend like it's not, that who you are isn't relevant to who you are as a person, I think we're doing a massive disservice to ourselves. Additionally, as safety professionals, there are different risk factors depending on gender, depending on race, depending on lots of things. There are different risk factors to what you face, both physically in a workplace and in the mental health and emotional well-being side of safety, this total worker health idea that we are tasked with now as safety professionals. So my soapbox here is that in order to see people as people, we have to see them as all of their parts and let them communicate that to you. I was also asked what advice I would give to a young woman starting in safety or a woman starting in safety. And my advice remains the same, despite me advocating that we are who we are and that matters. These pieces of us are relevant to our human experience. The advice is to be aggressively yourself and let your work speak for itself. So to me, that looks like if I want to wear a pink hard hat and a pink vest and have my nails done and wear lipstick and get a pen with a flower on the end of it, that's okay, because my work will speak for itself. Because being a woman, it does not mean that I'm less qualified, less intelligent, and less capable, and presenting as feminine like that also doesn't mean that. So what I mean is that it is relevant to my experience that I am a woman, and it is relevant to the experience of people that we are talking to. And you can and should still be who you are. That's my soapbox. I would love to hear your thoughts. This has been your administrator message.